My friends, you know that little wave that comes before the tsunami? The one we notice when, unfortunately, this catastrophe happens. Once again now. On a Saturday. The reaction to that guy's statements yesterday, right? It blew up on the internet. They're desperate to try to cover it up. They called Globo, they called Fola, they called Estadão, they called Inicio's influencers. Nothing is working. The United States sends a new message. More authorities will be sanctioned. Yesterday, he was among Lula's top allies. After he said, Petro, that they're workers. They're people who need to work, so that's their job. Right after that, Inácio came in with that. That's what he thinks, right? That's it. We have to treat our dealers with a lot of care. The United States had access to everything. We'll show it here. Smash that like button. Hit that like button. Come be a part of our family here. In this whole story, what makes me most outraged is that Bolsonaro said unfloppable. Unfloppable. My God. The world came crashing down on President Bolsonaro. Do you remember when he unfloppable, edible? My God. All the media kept hitting Bolsonaro. Now look how things are, right? They try to cover it up. I remember when even this guy I always talk about, right? Affectionately, I'm still being nice to him. This guy was all talk in the valley. Remember when Bolsonaro called out a journalist, Thais Oyama, who wrote a book based on lies? She planned to do it, had assumptions, and was going to write a book, right? That Bolsonaro argued there, inside the palace and so on. It was her sources, those water fountains, right? Then Bolsonaro went and said she was Japanese, guys. I think it should be a great source of pride. The greatest pride, for example, because the journalist is Nipponese. She's Japanese. Me, for God's sake, if someone calls me Brazilian, I feel proud. If they call me, for example, I have kind of mixed eyes. I say like this: Fabiano, my nickname was Japanese when I was a kid. People used to call me that, right? I feel extremely flattered. Man, I, for example, am very proud of the nickname I had. Now what? Bolsonaro was a criminal. What the? Look here, look, useless talk.
Bolsonaro, he was referring to the book, Tormenta, about the first year of his administration. And he called the author, the journalist, Thais Oyama, Japanese.
Then, guys, no. Look, it's actually embarrassing. Embarrassing. That's the best word. Embarrassing. He made so many faces, right? The guy just kept making faces, man. How do you... You're not worth a fart. You're not worth a fart, Bonner. You're not worth a fart. You're not worth a fart, man. I wonder if he got all that indignant when Inácio said that his boys... They're all my victims. My victims. I treated my victims well. And people are putting it on the internet. You guys need to be cared for. You need to have affection. You need to have affection. Man, it's surreal, isn't it? And look how things are. Before I go on with the main news, I'm going to tell you what their plan is. Alright, from the very first moment, did you notice that when this survey here is right now, okay? Bolsonaro is way ahead of Lula. They want to make you think that Bolsonaro is finished. There's, of course, it's the job of the enemies of the people to write reports. that the voter has forgotten Bolsonaro, that Bolsonaro is being left behind, that the voter already feels that Bolsonaro won't. So, you understand. Why do I even need to say this? Guys, we're not dealing with normal people. We're dealing with the most opportunistic blackmailing types. Those ones, yes. If we want to be extreme here, we could even say terrorists, because what they do is pure terror. When this whole discussion around Magnitsky started, with visas being revoked there, when Eduardo Bolsonaro leaves Brazil and goes to the United States, and their narrative, which tries to stick. Let me explain it to you here. Oh, but Bolsonaro's sons. Bolsonaro is good, but Bolsonaro's sons. What? The consortium? Remember, the same people who are trying to tell you that Lula is extremely popular, that Eduardo Bolsonaro is the most despicable guy. Over there in the United States, nobody listens to Eduardo Bolsonaro anymore. You'll see now, in a little while, it's a lie. They're the same people who, back during the pandemic, right? They inflated all the numbers you saw very well. And it's not me who's saying this. It was Michael Benz, the former CIA director. Remember when he clearly said that Globo inflated everything? They really did, right? According to him, because what's the narrative? Well, we have to isolate Eduardo Bolsonaro and Paulo Figueiredo. So let's release poll after poll. Polls. Remember that until then, Bolsonaro wasn't in jail. Then they arrested Bolsonaro. Moraes ordered the arrest. He banned social media use. That stooge always used social media in jail. I always say that, right? That's it. But what was the detail? We keep releasing poll after poll and lie after lie, over and over. And he was in jail. Lula tours Brazil to spread that feeling. That he's among the people, that he's popular and all that. So, he's going to present himself as the most popular president in South America and all that. But from what I remember, it's a blatant lie. But my friends, in their evil plan, they have to take the people into account. Guys, there's not a place I go, and I'll tell you my tactic. What I use to find out what people think. So, I get in the supermarket line, right? I'm about to check out a product. And I start talking to the person in front of me. I say, wow, things are so expensive, aren't they? So expensive, right? Just to join in, you know? I say, look at how much we're paying for coffee. You're joking, right? It's really expensive. And to know that more than half of that is tax for a guy who doesn't want to work. Then I see what the person's reaction will be. Wow, do you know what most people's reactions are? Don't even mention the name of that. Yeah, it's that guy. Don't even mention that person's name to me. Look, I guarantee you, more than 95% of the time, when someone stays quiet, it's because they're a supporter of Lula. But with more than 95% of the people I talk to on the streets, or sometimes when we go and order a gas cylinder here at home or something like that, they can't even stand to hear the name of that idiot anymore. So, my friends, things look bad for them because they did that during the election. Remember how he was winning in the first round? Bolsonaro had 20% and he had 51%. Then other polling institutes. Bolsonaro has 30-something%. Lula wins in the first round. It's the same thing, guys. The same thing. So I bring it here for you. These guys are so desperate. This woman here, look. Crisca Pimentinha, a major influencer for Lula, wrote, "The best strategy is not to give it any attention." And that's it. Stop talking and apologizing. Let it go. Ignore it. Change the subject to cake, baskets, beer, or soap operas. Don't let things escalate. About Lula's statement, it really caught on. It caught on because it's obvious. He said what the heart feels. That's who he is. Although that guy doesn't have a heart, but what his stomach, let's put it that way, feels. He does have a stomach, right? To handle so much booze and cachaça, my God. Here, folks, things are clear. Look, this video here is him campaigning. And the people there who do this kind of thing saying, look, it's
Lula, damn it! Get the victory! It's the command!
the command.
It's the complex, damn it! Red command!
Our dream one day, right, is it? Those who do terrible things will stop. But you can see here, clearly there's no use trying to hide the sun with a sieve. That's the fact. He is, he's supported by these people. And that's why they defend him so much. There's no other explanation. And then, here, look, Lula's visit to the Moinho favela was arranged by a non-governmental organization linked to the Primeiro Comando da Capital. And later, the people who organized this visit were arrested. They were arrested, and Lula defended them, right? And criticizing Tarcísio for visiting the Moinho favela, remember? They were all arrested for it. Right? That powder, And then, the news yesterday. The United States government is going to review the names of more Brazilian authorities for visa revocation. So, I ask you here, if Lula is so popular, if his friendship with Trump is so strong that Globo is trying to convince you that the two are best friends, right? This is now an article by Paolo Capelli. It came out, it was late, early evening yesterday. Let's take a look here, huh? The United States government will review the names of more Brazilian officials for visa revocation. This week, members of the State Department connected to Marco Rubio consulted Eduardo Bolsonaro and Paulo Figueiredo to move forward on the issue. Remember what I said? Didn't I tell you all? Eduardo Bolsonaro and Paulo Figueiredo are both insignificant. But here's the truth. Paolo Capelli is not a Bolsonaro-supporting journalist, just like they say when someone writes something against them. But hold on. Didn't Eduardo Bolsonaro and Paulo Figueiredo? They're not irrelevant. It's here. That doesn't mean the named authorities will automatically face visa revocation. Each case will be analyzed individually by the Trump administration here. The mapping that includes new possible sanctions is taking place amid a complex scenario in Brazil-United States relations. While Lula opens dialogue with Trump, the United States released an official statement again criticizing Alexandre de Moraes for alleged human rights violations. Here's the article. Trump knows he has to tread carefully to save Bolsonaro because President Bolsonaro is even at risk of death. Depends on what he does. They won't even let President Bolsonaro visit a hospital if he gets sick there, for example, at a certain time of day. Suppose it happens. Let's consider Bolsonaro gets sick now. You have to ask. You know that, right? You have to ask. An innocent man. He's not even in the case. He's not even under investigation. Then it takes a long time. It drags on and on. Who knows? Maybe something happens. He might even die before everything is resolved. Trump knows that. Trump knows who he's dealing with. Trump knows that these people, they have no shame. And that's why he went there, talked to Lula, had that whole thing. He knows Bolsonaro is a political hostage. He's a hostage. A hostage. So it's pointless for him to go all in. We're not talking about human people. We're talking about inhuman people. When you're inhuman, that's what happens. That's the main factor. It's no use for him to try to deny it. So calm down. I always ask in several videos, from now until next year, a lot of things will happen. These fake polls, my friends, look, to wrap up here, look. I talked and talked and talked. Look, here it is. Bolsonaro, 37.8%. Lula, 35% new Apex Futura poll. So you can do whatever you want, you can do whatever you want, especially now, in the situation Brazil is in. Brazil is broke, guys. There's no investment, nothing. People can't afford to buy half of what they used to during President Bolsonaro's time. What is a narrative, right? Lying a lot, claiming Bolsonaro never had a full shopping cart. He probably does now, right? Share this video a lot on WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, and come be part of our family, okay?